Legal Junction.
Hello, I bring you greetings from Legal Junction. My name is Ifoma. Today I want to talk to us about the duties of a tenant. Before I start, I want us to understand that tenancy is a form of agreement. It's a contract between two people, a landlord and a tenant. So, in any form of contract or agreement, there is always duties and obligations for each party. The landlord has their own duties and obligations, the tenant has their own duties and obligations as well, and also their rights. Do you understand? So now I want to teach us what are our duties as a tenant. Number one duty of a tenant is to pay his rent as at when due. Once your rent is due for payment, as a tenant, make sure you pay your rent. Shelter is an essential need of life. So if you have shelter over your head and it is a rented apartment, it is your duty to be keeping money or to make sure that you keep money down so that once it is time for you to pay your rent, you pay that rent. And I bet you if you do that, that landlord will not have any problems with you. Aside from paying your rent, it is also your duty as a tenant to pay your utility bills, pay for light. Do not accumulate light bills for the landlord. Secondly, if you know that your tenancy or your agreement with the landlord is for a 1 year setting, because there are some kind of tenancy agreement that is for 1 year setting, which means that after 1 year, the landlord has the right to evict you without giving you that 6 months notice that you're always expecting as a yearly tenant. You understand? So once you know that your tenancy is for a fixed term, make sure at least 30 days or even 60 days before your tenancy expires, make sure you pay your rent and the landlord collects that rent. Automatically you have entered into another tenancy agreement with the landlord. Even though the agreement might not be expressed, you have entered into another tenancy agreement with such landlord. Then secondly, the duty to keep the premises in good and tenantable repair. As a tenant that is staying in a person's property, you have to keep that property in a way that you would have kept the property had it been it is your own personal property. If you have anything that maybe you need any minor repairs in your house, maybe your kitchen tap, all those small minor repairs, it is your duty as a tenant to do that. Don't wait for your landlord to come and fix your kitchen tap for you. Don't wait for your landlord to come and fix your bedroom tap for you that is no longer running well, or maybe your bulb in your apartment for you are waiting for your landlord, or maybe the lamp holder. All those minor things, it is your duty as a tenant to make sure that you fix it so that that apartment you will enjoy it and it will also be in good shape as you are living. It is your duty as a tenant not to sublet without the written consent of the landlord. You cannot rent another person's house and you go and call another person, come and live in this place and pay me. It is wrong. So as a tenant, if you know that you want to sublet, or probably you rented this apartment and then something came up, you are no longer going to stay within that area, yes, you want to sublet it so that you can get your money. It is your duty as a tenant to arrange with the landlord on how you are going to sublet and get your money back. Or alternatively, you can inform the landlord in writing that please, this is what I want to do. He can give you, if the landlord gives you his written consent, then you are free to sublet. But if he does not, it is your duty not to sublet. Another one, it is your duty to make sure that you allow the landlord to come in from time to time to inspect his property, provided he gives you reasonable notice. That is, he notifies you on time, and provided he comes at reasonable hours of the day. So once the landlord notifies you that he wants to come and inspect his property and he gives you a date and a time, it is your duty as a tenant to allow him enter and inspect the property. As you're moving into an apartment, you need to ask the landlord, am I allowed to rear pets in this apartment? Because there are some places that you are not allowed to rear pets. Okay, so it is your duty as a tenant to ask, so that, see, let me tell you, when you understand your duties and the landlord understand his own duties, and then you know your rights, you will not have any issue with your landlord at all. You notice that you will be the one that you will stay in that apartment, then you will build your own and you move. You know, there's nothing like peace. When you have peace in an apartment, you will be making money, cool money. Before you know, you pay your rent, you pay your utility, you stay there peacefully. Before you know, you buy your own land and you build your own house, then you move to your own apartment. Okay, but when you are there having issues with the landlord, if you stay for an apartment for 1 year, you move to another one, you go there, you pay for a new agency, you pay for caution, you pay for agreement, you pay a new rent. That money that you are spending like that, you can actually save it and use it to do something meaningful if you actually know your rights and if you actually know your duties. Your duties, very, very important. If you know your duties as a tenant and you keep them, I bet you will not have any issue with your landlord. You will stay, and from there you move to your own apartment. There will not be issues of how my landlord is too wicked, and in fact I don't want to stay there again, I'm looking for another apartment, my landlord gave me quick notice. Those issues will not arise as far as you play your own part as a tenant. So it's very important for you to play your part as a tenant. The courts, the law call those kind of tenants that knows their duties and they keep to it, they call them a good tenant. Are you a good tenant? It is also your duty as a tenant not to disturb any other tenant in the premises, because by the time you start disturbing your other neighbors in the premises or other tenants, you are committing what they call nuisance in law, and it is a ground for the landlord to give you quick notice.